Today on Warrior Sessions.
50-year-old woman had lost her husband of 30-year marriage. He had a major heart attack and died. So she put herself on a train track and the train hit her, but she survived. But
What?
she's got one half of her body is being put together by metal and things. So you can imagine um, that she survived.
It's not fair that I had to lose him. It's not fair that he died. It's not fair that people are losing the people they love. It's not fair. It's enormous injustice. It's enormous. And so I use that pain to let him go so that I can allow the light in, so that I can bring justice in his honor, like I am now. All right, buddy.
Hello, you.
How's it going?
Yeah, you look a bit lighter.
Yeah, I'll tell you why.
Oh, it's good to see your face, my friend. Sorry, I'm just burning something. Bear with. Just preparing it.
No, that's great. I was going to say we should make these calls more ceremonially. It's more ceremonial.
Yeah.
I've got my cacao, and I've already welcomed my ancestors, and I welcomed
Yeah.
the seven directions.
Oh, love it.
Yeah,
Thank
north,
you. Yeah.
so
I
east,
I've just
south,
welcomed
west, north.
myself in.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's a really valid point. No, please, I interrupted you. Please share that. That was really important. So how do we go about that? How does one do that and explain
Oh,
that?
okay.
I know you're very much we're about it as well, but I'd like to hear from you how you do that.
Yeah, so I'll speak to you a little bit about the four directions first. So the four directions is it's been labelled Native American, and it is kind of been kept by the Native Americans, but it's really ancient,
Yeah,
and it's the four directions of north, east, south, and west, and they represent colours, animals, and the different seasons. But there's also the seven directions, which I told you is what I have based the coding for warrior sessions. And the seven directions, when you understand it, is actually in 3D, three-dimensional forms instead of just flat, is actually the signature of ninth dimensional consciousness, which is heart consciousness. And
wow.
yeah, and what's profound about it is the north is a I'll start with east actually. So I welcome the direction of
Yeah,
east. East is about new beginnings, new birth, the sunrise in the morning.
yeah,
I welcome the direction of south. South is about abundance, sunshine, summer. It's children playing outside. It's that abundance that gives us life, the sunshine. I welcome direction of west, which is about the dying. So that's the sun setting and death and letting things go. So that's autumn, letting the leaves go. I mean, I could do a whole conversation about autumn.
yeah. Beautiful.
And then I welcome the direction of north, which is winter, the process of going inwards, and
Yeah.
the ancestors. It's very winter solstice energy, and that leads to the welcome the direction of up. So that's all of our brothers and sisters in the galaxies beyond, and the sky. And then I welcome the direction of down, which is Gaia, the earth, our mother, the inner earth cities, the oceans, everything beneath us, which needs to be honoured, not looked down upon. And then finally, I welcome the direction of in, It's the seventh direction, which is the direction of spirit within, which is extremely important. That's the anchor of everything. So, welcome. Thank you.
Yeah. Yeah, I really love that. It's nice to hear it from another person's perspective that I really honor and respect. And I know you've got so much knowledge around that, which is so beautiful. Yeah, Lexi and I were married under those sort of honoring the directions, and so it's not something that a lot of people do, right? It was once what we did so much of, and as people, so it's really nice that yeah, it's in our lives, and we can. I definitely feel because of the difference in how we live our lives now. I mean, Lexi, my wife's always been very much connected in her spirit self, where I took a bit longer to find that, which is interesting because we've been doing a series of talks about mental health, and actually, for me this week, it's a real honor to be back with you, obviously. But it's been another week of holding suicide again. I better close my door because my children are around. So it's been another huge week for me. And so these sessions with you are so important because you can hold me very deeply. And this is reaching out to other men that may be doing the work that I do and Alistair does, and that we could hold each other. So I was really proud of myself because somebody wanted to leave the safe space we're in, which is it's a house. It's a secret location. People feed from there from being section under section orders, or they've had a hospital visitation. They've gone into hospital, and the hospital have felt that the mental health team would need to take control, and then they end up in places like where I work as a lone worker. So I had somebody that was wanting to leave the safe space to go and kill.
Are these people who are lead a normal life, or are they homeless, or?
The one that I was with yesterday is somebody that lost a husband. Well, she shared a story, because you got to remember the mental health world doesn't want to know your story. It's not interested.
Really?
It's not interested. No, it's not
Wow.
interested. It notes it as a side note. Yes, this person can't handle life, struggled with blah blah blah, but they don't really know the story. They just look at what that person's tried to do to themselves in order to get out of the pain body. So this person was again somebody that obviously didn't shock me that I've had no person-centered therapy in any way, or had any type of way of talking about what happened. So when we got down to brass tacks, this 50-year-old woman had lost her husband of 30-year marriage. He had a major heart attack and died. So that's huge for people to lose their loved ones. And she wasn't able to process that trauma. So she put herself on a train track, and the train hit her, but she survived. But
What?
she's got one half her body is being put together by metal and things. So you can imagine that she survived. Now, where do you go with that? How does somebody that's been ignored by everybody that's meant to not ignore you, i.e., basically family members are like, where are you going? What are you doing? What are you thinking? Like, they're all just very reactive and giving off that, you're scary. Why did you do that? And are you going to do it again? And I was the first person that went, talk to me. Tell me what it's like. to be you. Tell me what it's like to want to jump in front of a train. Tell me what it's like when the train was approaching you. But it wasn't really like that. There wasn't really that. It was just this open-heartedness of, you can talk about what anything you want. But the system actually, during her course of processing, so she was going from one place to another, eventually landing with us, which is where she's eventually going to go back into real world, if you like, was saying that throughout the whole process, there was a lot of trigger points. People were just coming at her and making her revisit all these traumas. So I knew that, and somewhere in me, I just was inside processing that, but it wasn't coming out verbally. So I was doing that. I was doing that whole thing myself towards her, but it was coming out with just pure love, because she needed to explain it from her perspective in order to try and understand what she's done. So we eventually got into the numbness. There's like this numbness, and we went into we embodied the numbness, and she's never done anything like that before. And the numbness spoke to her about having one foot in life and one foot in death. And we looked at both places, what it's like to be alive in the pain and what it's like to be in death. There wasn't too many similarities for her, so that's why I think people choose to make an attempt on their lives, because the pain's too much in life, and they think it's going to be easier. But she's gone, that was painful as well. She's stuck in the middle. And this is where I think we find spirit. This is where I think we find that something that's very, very special. So she's had no time to ever sit with someone like me, or someone of the caliber of you or Hazel, or to go, do you know what? This is a fascinating moment for you. This is a very, very profound moment for you. You haven't been able to kill yourself. And then she has made a second attempt. And a dog found her. She took a massive overdose with a load of vodka in the forest, and she was found by a dog, which led her on to now working with animals. That's what she does. So outside of her numbness, she actually works with animals, which I'm thinking, right, you need to meet Alistair. So she's got my number, and she's like, I would like to talk to your people. And I'm like, damn right. And I said, I know somebody that is very connected on all of that realm, because do you realize that that is a very powerful realm? And the plant realm is a very powerful realm. And do you realize that we are completely out of balance with it all? We're living in an absolute delusional state. And I said, and you're somebody that actually can't handle this delusional bullshit illusion that's been putting out, like life's great, look what we can build, look what we can make, look, we can fly out into the stars, look, we can dig right down into our oceans, look, we can do all of this, we can reclone ourselves, we can make drugs make us, I don't know, grow hair on top of our head. We're amazing. But actually, for someone like the client I was holding this week, and there's been several people, the common denominator is they're super sensitive, they don't understand who they are, they don't understand their purpose, and this is like the perfect opportunity for the mental health to open up its doors to allow the type of work that you are doing, Hazel. And like I said, I'm the one that's happy to feed that in. And I think we're starting to get some bites. I think we're starting to, because whatever's happening to me in this space is very unusual. I channel, obviously, I'm very connected to lots of energy. But I'm very naive, because that's the way I like to be. I don't like to think I'm an expert on anything. But the one thing people are saying is, there's something very special about you. There's a light around you. There's a warmth. There's a strength. I want to talk to you. It's like, and I talk, and I can't believe that I'm even talking to you. So I feel that in the room as well. And I talk to them about stuff that I wouldn't normally talk about my stuff. So there's this real meeting each other where the mental health establishment wouldn't meet you. They have to be above you. They have to be looking down, and they have to be saying, I know best. You don't really know what you're talking about because you try to kill yourself, which means you're not very stable. And or can we really trust you? And or you're causing everyone a lot of pain. So where we're coming in, or I'm coming in and saying, no, I get it. I've been there. It's like, what is it? What is that thing? Um, so it was profound in lots of ways, and I'm not really explaining because I never want to be able to explain because it's gold dust in the moment. It's precious, and I don't think anybody else has 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 the right to know what it was really like. So me explaining it isn't actually close to it. It's not even here to the tree outside my room.
I can feel it though.
Yeah,
When you talk about it, I'm journeying with you.
thank you. So I don't want to be able to. It's wrong to explain. All I'm saying is there's this incredible calling to a lot of human beings to sacrifice something inside themselves that is just so painful. So
Yeah.
when we get down to it, this woman was abused by her own mother, right? So this is the thing. This is what happens. People start going, so you start talking about the parts of self as they splinter off, and we talk about the inner child work, or you know, the archetypes of consciousness or psyche, and you're like, okay, so where are you? Oh, I'm my 4-year-old, and it's Christmas, and there was presents under the tree, and I went thinking, oh, I've never had presents before, and I went down, and I was so excited, and I was feeling them, and I was like, oh, I've got presents. This is at 3. This is this person telling me. This is this person that tried to kill themselves under a train, but they weren't for me. They were for my sister. Because the mother said, you don't get presents because you weren't wanted and we don't want you. So you just go away. They're for your sister. Now, Alistair, tell me how you're meant to hold space in order to handle that. Because that hit me like that train hit her. It left a massive mark on me. Because how could any kid ever be normal after that? Ever be able to be self-regulating, feeling secure, feel loved, feel wanted, everything in that moment, not having a gift under the Christmas tree, being told you weren't wanted and to go away. This is what has happened to most of these people. They've had a very early trauma, which cannot be undone. So I honestly think that the depth that you hold, people, and Hazel, and the work that you guys, that Lexi's come back and said they're doing amazing work, this is what they're doing. I think these people need that depth because they're just going round in a circle, mate. They're
Yeah, I
just
know. Yeah.
round in this fucking circle and
Yeah.
nothing's changing.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
So we,
Exactly.
we know this, we've touched on this,
Mm.
but that's been my week. And then I've been doing my other therapy work, which has been absolutely amazing. The phone's been ringing more, which is thanks to the cryo yoga Lexi's been doing, and also just my own personal work. I think it's the connection with you. Abundance is coming in, so I'm noticing that. I'm noticing things happening. Yes, I'm putting myself out there. I'm networking. I'm working with some other charities. I'm trying to get things moving on different circles to bring people towards, which is the idea is to feed into this more deeper work that I think we can offer. Or let's say there's this part of Michael within the Brotherhood that seems to pick up these souls following the ferryman's journey. And it's just like, right, let's climb this ladder. And then you're there. That's where we meet you. And I honestly feel, there's something very, very special happening. But I just wanted to say that probably sounds like a lot, and it is a lot. Don't get me wrong, it is a lot. It's a lot. But I find what I do so beautiful and so real and so raw, but on that edge, on that real edge. But I'm meant to be doing that work. I've prepared myself for a long, long time. I've been through so much in order to qualify for that role, lived experience. But I'm not coming from my head. I'm coming from my heart, which is what you're talking about when we call in these directions, when we call in the new consciousness that's rising, that heart space, that heart consciousness is definitely 100% happening for me. And I just don't feel I'll burn out. Yes, it's tiring, but it's tiring in a different way to the tiring we talked about with corporate life and being mentally burnt out. It's so different.
Yeah.
So I'm really pleased that I'm like, okay, yeah, I'm feeling a little bit like I need to go and ground. I need to go and do some mindfulness walking. I need to do my meditation. I need to go and do my yoga. I need to just something really wholesome. You know, I'm aware that I've got to, like last night I did a kirtan, so I did a good devotional singing. So I've got to really be on my game
Yep.
into session with you. So man, I'm a fucking blessed guy. You know what I'm saying?
You
Like
know, you can come on here in a complete wreck if you want. I'll hold space for you. It doesn't matter.
I know, thank you. I know you've always said that. That's me. That's where I'm at. And I'm I'm due a break. We're having a break, a family break soon. So that's coming soon. So we're really blessed to have that. So yeah, I feel good to be here, and yeah, I'm good. I'm really good. I'm feeling good. I'm feeling alive, you know, because I'm dealing with death.
I have a lot to say on what you've said. It's really incredible. Like, it's jaw dropping. It's what extraordinary stories that you're interacting with
Yeah,
on
man.
on a weekly basis. You're working with people who are attempting to take their lives, right?
Yeah.
And this is what Hazel and I are trying to prevent.
Brother, let them come. Let them come. Let it come.
We're doing it in a completely different way that people are just not going to see coming. It's just going to hit them from the side, and they're going to be like, "What? You can't do it the old way. You can't help people in the old way. You can't. It's just, it doesn't work."
Right.
So I'm just going to start from the beginning because you
Yeah.
came in really strong, and I appreciate that. A lot of people are suffering at the moment, really, a lot, and it's not going to get easier. I'm sorry, it's not. I want to say, just touch on the seven directions, why I brought them in. They are spirits of co-creation, so they're going to help us weave through this something which needs to be shown, needs to be seen. And I need to talk to you about what happened to me this morning, which was just came out of nowhere. Like you said, I look chirpier today. Yeah, you should have seen what I had to go through. I didn't wake up like this, mate. I did not wake up like this, right? I want to talk to you about grief, which is perfectly in alignment with what you're talking about. And I want to talk to you about pain. And just saying that really opens my heart. I want to talk to you about pain, and I want to talk to you about sacrifice and the antidote. I want to talk about loss. There's so much to say on this, but first I want to put in. We don't have to immediately talk about this, but what immediately came up for me is that you lost someone that you loved. So that must have been very difficult for you to hold space for her. because you're her mirror. You're mirroring each other. You lost someone. You lost your wife, right? How have you managed to process that level of grief? And have you grieved?
I think we need to clarify different losses and different parts of loss. So loss to a loved one, to an addiction, and losing a loved one to a very dark energy. So 2 loved ones I lost, but I also lost a brother at a very early age. So all 3 are alive, but all different losses. So the first one, earliest, is a brother, my own blood brother. Second, my wife. And third, my first daughter. And when you look at that, people might say, but that's not death. That's not really loss. It's worse, because all those relationships I have given so much love and warmth and kindness, but none of those wanted it. They didn't want that from me. They wanted something different that I couldn't offer. And I unfortunately can't get involved with being a enabler of alcoholism or coke or narcotic use. I can't be an enabler or a fixer of a family unit that wants to drag somebody down and keep them down and not letting them shine or grow. And I also can't be an enabler and a fixer to anger and fear. But I was, and I did, and I saw it, and I got involved in the ugliness of it, and I managed it by pretending it wasn't really happening.
Yeah.
So processing grief, there's lots of models out there in psychotherapy or in lots of different psychologies about how we do that. Eventually you do get to acceptance, but you go through the bargaining and you go through the fear and the anger, but eventually you come to acceptance, but you never get over it. You don't ever get past it. It just keeps going round. So sometimes you drop back into anger because, of course, I want to see my daughter. She's 27. Of course, I want to see her. I want her to be a part of my life. I've always wanted that. But
Okay.
the darkness that's coming from her family unit that she loves very much, I was never somebody that was wanted. And so I had to fight through the justice system, the family courts, to get to her. And then even when I did win, and I did it all on my own, I didn't have a lawyer. I did it all on my own because I knew I was tackling a very dark energy, and I didn't want to give people. I wanted my money to go towards my daughter. I didn't want it to go towards the blood-sucking lawyer system. I wanted it to go to my daughter. So I represented myself. So I was also, had a very, very powerful job at the time. So I was running my own legal case as well as fighting for my daughter in a time when there was a lot of injustice towards men with children. So I was fighting a paedophile accusation. I was fighting a danger to society. None of this was true, obviously, but I was fighting. My name got damaged. and I was taken through death, really. They they wanted me to die. So when we talk about do we process grief? Can we process it? Yes, but there's different levels of it. There's different levels of love, there's different levels of acceptance, there's different levels of fear, there's different levels. And
Okay.
I reckon I've been through most of them. I think I've been through a lot, but have I truly processed it? In a counseling arena, I've had lots of work, hundreds of man hours around it. Have I ever really got my head around my daughter? No. Couldn't quite understand what I'd actually done wrong. And try to have conversations with the adults that were meant to be adults around what is it that's actually going on here? What are you so afraid of? But they won't ever talk because there's huge dark energy around that. And it's really quite odd and very, very weird and sinister. With my brother, have I processed the loss of that relationship? Have I grieved it? If out of all of them, that one is probably the one I've never really grieved.
Yeah.
That's probably the one out of all of them because I don't know on that. I'll have to have a little. We could do some work around that, but I don't. It doesn't. That was my earliest one, so I've always been used to that. I've always been used to him not being there. So that
Let me join you on that one then, because we share that, right? That's a really big one. What happens when you realize you don't have a brother? And why can't you connect with them? The easiest part to answer is why we can't connect with them. It's because they're closed, they're shut down, they've received too much abuse, right? That's easy. And the difficulty and the painful part of it is that someone like you or I who go to that brother who is suffering say, hey, I'm here for you, you just get abuse. Because as soon as you show that person love, you show them the love inside themselves, and they don't want that. They're too afraid. Right? And so you and I just have to keep walking our own path and hope, I just hope that one day they turn to us and say, I'm really sorry. I would like to fix that. But it's an enormous long shot at this stage, right? But what you're tapping into, Michael, there's a huge theme here of grief, and I'm going to connect to you with my story of what happened this morning. But when I spoke to you about grief and death, you told me, and I'm sorry if I don't mean to sound disrespectful, but when I interviewed you, you said you lost your wife to death. That's what I was referring to. Is that correct?
No, Joe hasn't died, Alistair.
You said you had a second wife that had sorry, I don't recall, but I thought you said that you had a second partner who passed away. Okay, that's strange. I don't know where I got that from then.
So Joanne, my second wife,
Yeah.
unfortunately became so unwell with her addiction. Yeah. But we'd had a child together, so that's our son, yeah, who lives with me, has always lived with me. So
So she's still alive?
she's alive. Yeah.
Right, okay. Okay. Right, so you lost her to addiction.
She basically nearly died a couple of times because of the overdosing and things, but she's alive.
Right, I understand now. Okay, I understand now. Okay, thank you for clarifying that. Okay, all right, okay. So there's a really powerful theme here on grief and how to let go. And you said that, and I hear everybody say this, is that you can never really let someone go, right? That grief is always there. And I'm here to say that's just not true anymore. Not anymore. I'm here to change that, because this is what I've done. This is what I've done. So this morning, right, and I'm going to tell you how this happened. It's really incredible how it happened. But Hazel introduced me to the power of art, and I didn't understand what that meant. What does art mean? Why is art so powerful? And I started channeling spirit animals as my ancestors on my podcast, He Lives, right? And episode 17 was the Loch Ness Monster. And in 1996, I think it was, or 1994, I think it was 1996, or 1994, it doesn't matter. In August, I was in Loch Ness with my father, my brother, and my godfather, Frank. And we saw something in the water, and my godfather took a photo of it. Cut a long story short, we became internationally famous. It's in the newspapers, on Radio 1, it was in the news in Australia, all of this stuff, right? I was only 14 years old, and it terrified me. My dad wanted me to go on television, and I said no. Right, now I made a podcast out of that. And what I've realized is that when I make a podcast, the spiritual meaning of the podcast comes into my life and heals a certain part of me. It's so profound, mate. It's so profound. But what happened was I did this healing, came in for 13, 14, 15, 16, but 17 and 18 didn't happen. And I was like, okay, or 19. And then it went to 21, and I received 21. So I went back, and I sat with myself the other night on my own in ceremony, and I received the magic of number 19, which is the Jaguar. And then this morning, out of nowhere, I find this difficult still. I found this song yesterday, right? Michael, you are such a nice guy. I've just seen that you've sent me money. You're something else, honestly. This is so strange. That's it. That's the exact amount that Zoom take out of my money this morning and took me over my overdraft. Wow, thank you so much, mate. You're so kind. Thank you. That's a lot of money. Thank you. You're such a brother. See, this is how we heal brotherhood. We're turning up for each other. And we're wearing blue and orange as well, which is a very powerful combination, right? So, thank you. So I found this song yesterday, and it was a song that I used to dance to with my dad when I was a kid. I'll just play a little bit.
Hey, Frankie. One day when I looked up, I saw a friend. Hey, Frankie, do you remember me? You looked at me and then I blushed, 'cause I remembered I loved you so much way back when we were friends, going together, but then you left me. Frankie, do you remember me? Frankie.
Right. So
God, keep playing that. Keep playing it. It's so keep playing it.
yeah, I know, but it will get taken down from YouTube if I do. So
Wow. Woo! Oh, my body was just like going.
all right, I'll play a bit more.
Do you remember you were
So the guy who took the photo of the monster, his name was Frank, and he died a nasty death. And today was the first time I grieved him, and he died years ago, so long ago. He had really severe diabetes, and his daughter stole all of his money because she was a coke addict, and his wife caught dementia and forgot who she was. And then he stood on a nail, and because he had diabetes, he died. And so this morning, I went fucking apeshit because of the injustice of the game. And when I mean the game, I mean we're losing people. The game isn't fair. It's not fair that I had to lose him. It's not fair that he died. It's not fair that people are losing the people they love. It's not fair. It's enormous injustice. It's enormous. And so I use that pain to let him go so that I can allow the light in, so that I can bring justice in his honor, like I am now, right? To be in service and to help others, right? This is how it's supposed to happen, right? We're supposed to let those people go. So this woman, I know it's not that easy, I know, but it's a journey, and my art helped me get there, right? And women are powerful creators. And so this woman who lost her partner and tried to kill herself in a train, right? The only way through this for her is for her to let him go. But this guilt comes in, right? So I'm crying this morning, and I'm wailing, and I'm screaming, and I'm seething, you know, I'm in bits. And then afterwards I start to feel happy, right? And that is the process. That's love that comes in. But there's a little bit of guilt that tried to come in. It's like, you can't be happy, he's dead. And this is what stops people from letting them go. But it's not the truth. It's not the truth. We have to let them go to honor them. And what comes in its place is so much love. Now I can love him because I was blocked. I couldn't feel him. I was like, oh yeah, my godfather died. I dishonored that. When we try to take our lives, we dishonor their death. They chose that, right? And it's not fair. It's not fair. It's enormous injustice, right? And this is why so many people can't handle it, because they have to take responsibility for the loss. But I see it as it's either a diving board to go down and reclaim those gifts. It's fuel to go up and become who you're meant to be, to remember who you are. Because when I went down, the explosion that erupted in my heart and my body, you said it when I came on this call. You said I look better, and I look in here, and I looked so rough yesterday. Like I looked like a hobo, and it's because I'm holding on to all this stuff. It makes us ugly. It makes us feel like shit. And you know, I'm going to listen to that song again and again and again until I fully grieve him. And I don't mind doing that, because it makes me feel the love that I had for him, whereas before today, I couldn't find that love. And this is what people struggle to understand, because there is no freaking method. There is no method for that. There isn't. It has to be felt, right? And this is where I'm going to lead on to something that you said, which just really blew me away. You said that the mental health system doesn't want to hear people's stories. Do you know how toxic that is? I used to have a friend, right? I've lost all respect for her, right? If I'm honest, because I don't speak to her anymore. She used to say, it's just your story. Just let it go, right? And she's a spiritual, in the spiritual community. no, 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 no. Your story is art. Your story is your journey. Your story is blessed. You are blessed with your story. You are blessed with it. It's your way out, because the way out is the way in. And the only way in is to tell your story. And there's so many different ways of telling that. There's so many different ways of telling that. And sharing your story with someone who holds space for you and witnesses you, like you did for her, that's the best part.
Really is.
It's like the fucking Hunger Games at the moment. And, you know, Hazel witnessed me this morning, right? And afterwards, after she finished witnessing me, we had a workout, came back in, and then she got triggered into anger. And I said to her, like I've said to her, I said, we can't blame our parents. We can't. And she just did a 180 and she went, no, they do hold responsibility. They do. She said, because in the 80s, they had more freedom to make a choice, and now we have to deal with their shit. We can't pay our bills, and they blame us for not being able to do that. This generational trauma that's passed on. I don't believe in blame, but at some point there has to be, yeah, actually, responsibility. You know? It's like, I was in Holland about 3 years ago. I was just about to go asleep. I was sleeping on the floor with Hazel because she couldn't afford a bed at the time. And we had this mosquito net over us. And then I saw this black shadow came in, and I was like, oh, Hazel, there's a spirit here. Can you talk to him for me? And it was my great grandfather, my grandfather. And I said, well, what's your message? He said, I'm sorry what I did to your father. Because he left my dad when he was 5, right? And so my dad was abandoned, and now my dad's abandoned me, right? And all of this has a knock-on effect, right, to these people that you're working with. It has a knock-on effect for you, right? And you're so fucking brave, Michael. Everything you're doing with your kids, right? With everything you've been through, you're so brave. You're breaking the cycle. You're breaking the parental trauma. It's so profound what you're doing. Like, I have so much respect for you. So much respect. Like, just fucking keep being you, mate. Just keep being you, honestly. But yeah, our parents hold an enormous amount of responsibility, but we can't go, hey, take responsibility, you you fucking dick. You know, like, my dad, honestly, fucking wake up, mate. He's in his 80s, and I don't want him to pass away before I've had a chance to say, look, let's just forgive all this. I sent him a letter saying that months ago. I haven't heard back. And so the way I use art to get here, right? And I wasn't aware that this was happening, but this is, you know, happening at profound timing. I've been watching this program called Naruto, right? And it's a Japanese manga that was turned into an animation series, and there's 500 episodes, and I'm on like episode 130, and it's loads of character development, and it's about this cult of men who they've all lost their tribes, right? It's a genocide, yeah? They've lost everyone. That enormous amount of grief and pain they're holding on. So they get together to create an abomination, an enormous demon, right? So let's call that demon ignorance, right? And pain. And this old sage tells a story of how he's played his part in it, right? And I saw this sage in the story this morning as Frank. This is why this is so profound for me. So this sage finds these 3 kids in this village called the Village of Rain, and it just rains all the time because there's so much grief. So people, you can't see they're crying because it's raining all the time, right? And so he teaches these kids ninjutsu to protect themselves. But he's told this prophecy of how he will teach this child, and this child would either bring great peace to the world or great destruction. Fast forward 30 years, and he realizes, he goes back to this village of rain, and one of these kids that he taught has become the despot of the controller of the whole village, you know, like the size of London, whatever, right? And he makes it rain as part of his gift so that he can keep an eye on what everyone is doing. When the rain touches people, he can see what they're doing. And what's his name? Pain. His name is Pain, right? And what it is, and this is what I've gone through, this is what everyone's going through, this is why there's so much hatred in the world, is that his entire tribe, his entire family was wiped out through war, right? So genocide. And he was the lone survivor from his ancestral heritage, right? This is what I've had to heal. My tribe was killed, I was the lone survivor, okay? And he, instead of using that pain to free himself like I have done, he put his pain onto everyone else, and he killed anyone that stood against him, right? And this is what's happening with men. They're firing that pain out. And I speak from experience, right? Because I took responsibility. I fired that pain at the weakest people, closest to me, my mother and my partners. And it was normally women, right? I abused women. I played my part, exploited them, and I took my pain out on them. But at the same time, I asked for help. You know, I was on my knees sometimes saying, I don't know how to deal with this. I'm so sorry that I'm treating you this way. Because I was bipolar. I was going from, hi, I love you, love you, love you. Get out. You're disgusting. You're fat. You're a whore. All of these things, right? And because I took responsibility for that, I realized that it was the cycle of narcissism. And this is what you talk about. People are going around in circles, right? Number one in the cycle of narcissism. And this works internally. You'll be going through this. Everybody's going through it. Everyone. Okay. There's nobody is outside of this. Number one. When I forget things. Oh yeah. Number one. Idealization. Right? Whenever someone comes into a relationship, oh, you're amazing. Oh, we've got so much in common. The sex is great. Let's go traveling. Let's do all this. Idealization. Number two, devalue. Why do you do that? Why aren't you doing the dishes? I don't like it when you wear that. Number three, discard. You're beneath me, you're useless, you don't look good anymore, you've put on weight, I'm going to go find someone else. Yeah, this is why men and women cheat on each other. That's discard, right? That's probably the worst part. Being discarded, rejected, abandoned, right? Number four, hoovering. I'm so sorry, I shouldn't have said all those things. I love you, please come back to me. Cycle repeat, idealization, you're amazing. Number two, devalue. You're not that amazing. I shouldn't have come back to you. This isn't right. I'm going to leave. You need to leave. You need to get out. Number four, I'm sorry. Please come back to me. Number one, you're so great. It keeps going round and round and round and round and round. Okay. Now, imagine that internally for that woman who's lost her husband. She might feel great about herself after you had that chat. And then it would just take someone to say, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? You're not a good person, right? And then she'll go into devaluing herself. And this is why discard, she tried to discard herself on the rail track, mate. And then it's that apology to self. I'm so sorry that I did that to myself, okay? How do we break the cycle? How do we break the cycle, right? And the only way to break the cycle is to face it head on, right? And that train is a spiritual metaphor of love and grief. She's got so much grief.
I loved the whole of that. Thank you so much. That was so beautiful and profound, and just answered so many things. And you know, when I'm working, I definitely feel your energy with me. I feel that brotherly connection, because we do need to support this, what's happening with the disease, the dis-ease in people. And that injustice really strung a chord with me. It really reverberated around. And I think about that and feel into that, more feel into it really. And you know, recalling, like I said, the week's events that have taken place for me and bringing them into the space. Um, there was this sense of, yes, it's okay us doing this right now, and yes, this person is feeling a little bit less 1 foot still in death, but not so much wanting to go and actually kill themselves. Um, but someone could easily come and quickly undo that, and that happened within an hour after that.
Really?
Because there was I'm taking care of 4 people, and the other person within there is a paranoid schizophrenic, and they were having a really bad episode. So it just immediately, she didn't have the space to process the work that we'd done, and I actually said, look, we really need to sit just together now, just for an hour, just in quiet. Let's do some drawing or just something really, really beautiful and gentle. I had to be caught. I could sense that I was needed elsewhere. So this is a very, very dangerous world, not only in the ignorance of you don't have a story, the story doesn't really matter. What matters is now. What the now is what matters. And Eckhart Tolle has a lot to answer for that. But the now is powerful. I get that when you're disassociating and you're struggling, whether it's secondary disassociation or whether it's catatonic where you completely throw. I get the now is very, very important to appreciate life. But what we're talking about is so profoundly important to someone to be able to tell their story. And go just back to the injustice. Somewhere in that conversation, there was a energy around that. There was an energy around. There's a very strong message within this story about who you are, what you're meant to be doing. And this, because she did ask the big question of why is life like this? What no one's ever been out, and we looked at my life, we looked at how I've got to where I've got to, and I shared that because we were in a safe, contained space. We'd made it safe. It was just us. It was contained. It felt right to do that. Self-disclosure as a support worker is okay. As a counselor, it's a little bit different. Depends on the relationship. But I'm a big feeler, so I felt it was right. And we talked about the returning to original self, and you just making that journey towards becoming the person you've always been, which we know is pure light, pure love, pure interrelatedness, pure connectedness. It's beyond anything we could ever imagine, and we're hopefully we're on that path. I feel that we're on that path. We're on that ladder, or whatever you want to call it, on that spiral. But um, she sort of homed in on it and sort of said, well, no one's ever come about it from that angle before. And it was talking about, did she realize who she really was her ancestors, and that she's carrying that's within her. She has the capability of communicating there if she wanted to. She has the ability to communicate with people all over creation quite easily, energetically. She's quite, she's got the capability far beyond anything that she can imagine. And was it her time to start to go into that world, go into more her spiritual self, and meaning get to find who you really are? What's the true you? What does it look like? How does it really, really feel? But you're right, for her to be able to move past into that, we'd need someone like you to say, sorry to be so direct, but this is how it is. I think could work really well with that person, because she had the maturity. She's got the pain. She's got that level of this is just going round in that circle, if you said, of narcissism. And there isn't any other process. But I think what I also wanted to touch on was when you said you can get past it. I think what was coming into me was, but my relationship with my daughter and the grief there is so different to the relationship and the grief around
Yeah.
addiction.
Yeah.
Like, so when people are thinking about what you've said today, are they going to be thinking, yeah, but I was abused by my blah blah blah, by my husband that battered me for 30 years. How am I meant to forgive or love? And I don't think you're saying that. I don't think you're saying that. But I think that needs to be explored a little bit more in our
Self-forgiveness.
yeah, people need to understand what you're trying to say there, because some people are grieving because they murdered the person that was abusing them. Some people are grieving because their child was taken away from them because it's an arranged marriage.
Okay. Right. Let me put it into perspective for you just quickly, right? Imagine that everything you do in life is you as a 5-year-old child. Okay? If you hurt someone, that hurts you. Right? And so there's a forgiveness of how you've treated yourself. If someone's beaten you, there's part of you that allowed that to happen. And that's the responsibility, and that's the injustice. That hurts. Trust me, I know. That's the part where we have to say, I'm sorry that I allowed that to happen.
Okay, good, perfect, beautiful, good. That's it. And this is the energy that was in this space where we've introduced this real person that's wanting to kill themselves, whilst I'm responsible for that person. So, well, they're responsible for themselves. I'm responsible for making sure that they are held and heard and respected. And so the conversations about having to reach where we go to kill ourselves, which I have experience of because I've made 2 attempts in my life, and luckily I am now here and I'm on my true path. However, she asked me how long will it take for me to get to where you're at, and I said I can't tell you that. It could be several lifetimes. So we did discuss the fact that each lifetime we re-enter a stage, whether it's in plant form, animal form, human form, that we are having to face suffering. It's as simple as that. It's suffering, but how do we suffer less? That's how I put it to her. How do we make our journey less sufferable? And you're right, we've got to be accountable and responsible for ourselves. We've passed it on, we've transferred it. And then what happens? It counter transfers. So we're getting nowhere, because it's all about, like you said, when Hazel said, the responsibility surely should lie with the individual, regardless of the label: parent, adult, child, lawyer, doctor, nurse, teacher. Sovereign self needs to be responsible for returning back to who they really are, because they know it inside. Like you said, when you do something, whether you say to your wife, do you know what, it feels like I'm always the one that's tidying the house, you're never available to keep on top of things, you immediately know, what on earth's that sort of language, and how's that even going to be any how's that even any of help? And that's just an example. Or
Yeah, I understand.
I know you do. So it's like we already know. We don't need the words. It's like we need to just have more action than words. It's like we're so wordy.
Yeah.
It's like the world's so wordy,
I'd love to spend a day with one of these people, on a bench under a tree. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I can see you with them.
Yeah, and just tell them how it is. But you saying me sat opposite her and being direct, I actually see that it takes us both, right? When you mentioned this person about schizophrenia, I was like, oh yeah, I would love to work with someone who's
Oh
paranoid
yeah,
schizophrenia.
really interesting.
Yeah, yeah, because we're multidimensional, and if you
Right.
ignore those parts of you,
Yeah.
which are paranoid and want to cause trouble, it's only going to worsen. And I went straight into paranoia, right? In when I was working in medicine ceremonies years ago, there's these old programs through the reptilian DNA that appear, because I work with spirit animals.
Yeah.
They appear as dinosaurs, right? And the T-Rex is the tyrannical king, yeah, which is narcissism. They're all forms of narcissism, but I saw that the pterodactyl is that, how in this day we used to have hawks that we used to have hawks as pets that would they would fly ahead, right? Shamans use hawks and crows to fly ahead and see if the path was safe.
Yeah.
Pterodactyls had that, but instead of looking ahead for you, they would come and get you, right? That's where paranoia comes from. The pterodactyl represents paranoia.
Wow.
And I had to cleanse that from my DNA through going that deep and acknowledging it. And I couldn't have done that without plant medicine. And I'm not saying that someone with paranoid schizophrenia needs to start working plant medicine. That's probably the last thing they need, right? But I'm saying is absolutely possible. And I've read in cases where they took paranoid schizophrenias who were afraid of snakes. They took them into a place and they said, what's in here? And he said, it's covered with snakes, I can't go in there. Take them away. The person goes in and puts a real snake in there, right? And they come back in and they go, yeah, there's still snakes in here. And he goes, what about this one? He goes, that's a real snake. Cured. Instantly cured. No longer afraid of snakes, no longer see snakes. Snapped right back into their body.
It's so interesting watching paranoid schizophrenia. It's a real, like you say, it's a fascinating entity, and one that shouldn't be ignored, but again is controlled by medicine, and maybe rightly so with certain characters, because some of it, as we know, can lead to very unstable personhood. But this particular individual is it's not that in him. He hasn't got that energy. It's not there. It's not there. But he's got several characters, several splits of parts of psyche, and he talks to them, and I've witnessed it and sat with him, and he's one of my first I've ever sat and just. They're really real. He calls them holograms, so they're like holograms.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, I've had that. I've been through that. I had to deal with. I'm still healing it actually. Have you heard of the Hydra, the mythical monster, the Hydra? It has 7 heads, right? And when you chop one head off, 2 grow in its place. And so I drew that. I drew the Hydra, and every time I draw an animal, I have to embody it. And it's get all these voices going, I'm like, shut up, right? And I have to heal that, right? What is causing all these different words here? And because they each have their own ability, one of them's a chef, one of them's probably a psychotherapist or something. They all have different. They're like, but I want to do this, I want to do that. How do you heal that, right? And that's similar to schizophrenia. How do you heal all these different parts of you that want to take control? That want to be heard, that want to be seen, that want to be felt. How do you deal with that, right? Because you can't chop their heads off, because then you'll get 2 more. So there has to be another way, right? And it's to do with imagination. The antidote is to do with imagination. People don't understand the power of imagination and art, and I've been through this, right? So I'll give you an example. I gave you an example of someone who did an experiment where they put a real snake in there, right? That's in a way that's using imagination. But what if you could find a way of using your imagination to say, okay, this person that is paranoid and schizophrenia is this part of me that's coming in is trying to come in and have fun with me. They want to play snakes and ladders, or it's a fisherman, and you can turn it into a story and an imagination which wants to be felt. You don't just make up something. It has to be in alignment with what they're seeing and what they're feeling, to tell the story so that the story can end.
Yeah, good shout. Yeah, love it. 100%. I mean, there's art materials there. This particular character is going through titration at the moment, which means they're trying to work out the correct medication. So, but yeah, I did sit there thinking, oh, it's really interesting that. I was thinking, I wonder how we get this out of him to explore the different versions of what he's channeling, what's coming through, what's their story, why have they chosen it? Why have they chosen him? He is a very interesting, he's a very, very beautiful soul. Yeah, you're right. That sort of work.
Constellation therapy, mate.
Yeah, someone like you it would be so fascinating to be able to see you work with someone like that, because I think he would be the type that would be up for it, I think. But like I say, there's certain characters there that are intrigued. They like the way I am. They see there's something different, and so I'll give them my card. And because some people are just that you just don't meet. You just it's fine. So yeah, I love that. I love that the way you're thinking with that as well.
Yeah, I think what comes up, do you know constellation therapy?
I've not heard of that, no.
Right, okay, so it's when you have two chairs and you it's just imagine just
no,
me.
That's Gestalt, mate. That's Gestalt therapy.
Yeah, but other people call it constellation therapy, like there's
empty chairs.
Yeah, but there'll be other people in the room that play different parts of the family or whatever. But
yeah, I do that.
Yeah, so that person could act out by moving the chairs. I've done this. Yeah, but they could act out that part of themselves, and that would be fascinating.
That's what this lady fancied doing, because I gave her an example of how she could get into her inner child and communicate. So I showed her 3 chairs. I showed her how we could move through different parts of self, and she was like, that is mind blowing. And I just gave her an example of how it works. So you're bang on. Yeah, with the right practitioner. I've not seen many people be able to master it, I must admit. I saw some people do a demonstration and I walked out. I thought that was really, really not good. So I think I could see you doing it very, very well.
Yeah, for me, all of this revolves around expression, right?
Yes, because you're good at that. That's right.
Yeah,
Playfulness.
Yeah, like this morning, I was screaming top of my voice. I didn't care. I don't care if it's the thing, right? There's this whole thing around censorship, like, oh, I can't scream, I can't wail, and it's like, yeah, you can, yeah, you can.
Love that. Yeah, you're right. I mean, when you said to me, Michael, you need to howl more, and I always get the solstices, and I howled for us. I howled, it felt really good, but also, I mean, Lexi always does all that stuff, always has. She's always used her but I howled for probably and I howl a lot now. It's great. Oh,
Look,
men should do it more. You're right. Oh, wow. I love that.
Yeah.
That's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Woo-hoo!
It's my wolf necklace, yeah.
Yeah, you need to make me one. I'll send you the money. 100%.
It's big shamanic process of embodying the wolf. It's very powerful.
Yeah,
Yeah, we should actually bring in the wisdom of the wolf briefly. So the gift is mentorship and teaching, right? And we're both doing that. The shadow's enablement. you and I do not enable each other, right? But I see this in circles. I see this in mental health. You know, you saying that people aren't that mental health doesn't listen to these men and women's stories.
They don't, mate.
This is why they can't heal, because their stories aren't being told, right? If the story isn't told, they can't finish the book. The story can't end, and it becomes that, you know, like that movie. I always get coding from art, the never-ending story, right? The story has to be told. The story has to be told, because that old story has to end so that we can begin a new story.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Makes so much sense, doesn't it?
It does when you've lived it. It does when you've lived it. But when you're in that really dark place, like you're speaking about, when I went on, there's this free online men's group called Men Who Talk. It's brilliant. I think I told you, I went on there, and there were several men who had been through unimaginable things in this lifetime. They were going through unimaginable, and you know, one of them, I remember, wrote his suicide note before he came on the call, and there were other men on the call who had just lost their wives, right? And so these men were holding space for this guy who wanted to take his life. It's incredible, right? The love that men have for each other, but not for themselves.
So true. So true.
This is why it needs to be, these men, they need to be mirrored. These men need to be honoured. Men need to be honoured.
Great. It's true.
So the antidote, the biggest antidote that I can share, sounds ridiculous, but it works, is turn your pain into art.
Beautiful.
Tell your story, write it, draw it, paint it, however it wants to come out. If it looks like stickmen, so what? Like, I drew this yesterday because I wanted some cacao, right? I don't know if you can see that. Wait a minute. Can you
Yeah.
see? Well, that's a picture of. There you go. Look.
Yeah.
And that says, "Bring me more cacao. I love cacao. Thank you, Mother Cacao." Right, and then I had cacao this morning. We've run out of money, so we can buy cacao, and then you send me that money. My art brings me the healing and abundance. Anyway, it's a silly example, but art is really powerful.
No, it's beautiful. It's really touched me, that has. It's touched me just that. There's a real profound method in what's happening here. You sharing, the channeling, the work, the depth that you're talking about, the analogies, the metaphors, the interrelatedness, the depth of explanation, the coming of it, the looking at it from a different lens. That's feeding, that energy is coming into me, that thing of let's be bigger, it's okay, let's tell our story, let's be bigger. There's definitely something happening on a very, it's like the ecosphere is really happy with us, because it's like, yeah, that's right, boys, that's the one, this is where you need to be, that's what's happening, you're linking together, you're making some things happen. So we're going to feed you. We're going to make things. And I've noticed suddenly a different energy about myself. There's definitely a desire to work closer with you on what we're doing. And it's not like, yes, this is what we're doing. We're still, yes, we've got our individual skills. Yes, we've got these amazing ideas, and we can do it. We know we can. I mean, it's not, we're not, that's not the issue. It's like the people I know are just going to come. It's just going to happen. It's just going to happen. And it's going to be wonderful. But we've just got to be patient. be patient because it is so different. It is so different because people are so used to just being ignored. And you're right, the cycle just keeps going round. And oh, but yesterday was all right. He treated me well, or yesterday wasn't as bad in my suffering. So today's a bit, but actually it just comes back round again and comes back round again. But
Yeah.
those people that are literally had enough of that cycle, they're the ones that are going to come. It's just going to happen. I have this huge belief. And I just can't believe that I'm even working at that depth. But then sometimes I'm not even thinking that it's a depth. I'm just thinking it's what it is. It's not. People, you don't share these with people. I share it with you because I know you get it. And you're like, I really honor you, Michael. I think what you're doing is fantastic. But you can't. I don't expect to be able to ever talk to somebody just who isn't doing the depth of work that say you're doing or I'm doing on self and in with other people to get it, because it's 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 what I'm meant to be doing. I can feel that in all my fiber. It's so interesting to be with somebody that wants to kill themselves. I can't tell you how interesting that is. There's so much about the real human in that moment, and the spirit are really there.
Okay, I'm following you now. I understand what you're saying there. So you're very comfortable in that level of depth.
Yes,
Yeah, wow, okay.
it's like I think we heal each other in those places.
Yeah, yeah.
I think we heal together, and I think there's something about the medicine there that's stronger than anything you can pop in your mouth, any plant, anything. There's like an energy that we can really vibrate on that can heal quicker than anything, really quick. And I think it's about being heard, and I think it's to do with the story.
Yeah.
And I think some people just find that extremely difficult to feel comfortable enough to do that. Can this person be trustworthy? Is this person going to abandon me? Is this person judging me? Is this person thinking I'm weak? Is this person thinking I'm crazy? Is this person really, well, how can I trust this person when my own mother's completely abandoned me? So yeah, it takes a special energy to come in and hold that space.
You're that special energy, mate.
I think it's definitely an energy.
You're that special energy.
Yeah, something happens and it's beautiful. It's like I get the ego out the way, I get everything stripped back, everything, and it's just like a real centered. Yeah, it's just a very open-hearted, very real, very yeah, nowish in the moment. Um It's just unusual, isn't it? It's unusual, especially in Western culture, to want to sit in uncomfortableness. We don't like to be uncomfortable. We want to be out of it as quick as possible, and we want to reframe it, and we want to deny, ignore, suppress, avoid anything to do.
How would you describe that though? How would you describe that uncomfortableness?
Like there's no one to talk to. No one. And there's no one. No one.
Loneliness. Forgotten. So I'm tapping into what you're saying. Disconnection.
You're entombed. You're in a tomb. You're buried underneath a huge weight.
Right, okay.
You're
Okay, let's stay in that image. Stay in that, close your eyes, stay in that image, right? So you're feeling that. Now, push that up with your hands physically, like you were doing, right? And crack the earth open and realize that you are the flower.
Yeah, I've already got a little bit of grass. I'm sort of like a daisy. There's a little bit of rain coming on me. But yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
Now use your imagination. This is where imagination comes in. Now you're a tree and you're growing at a rapid rate. And you're strong, you're rooted, you're an oak tree, you're thick, strong, and your branches and your leaves protect all of those around you. This is the fertilization of the darkness that feels so heavy. We have to grow, we have to fertilize ourselves.
It's really interesting. I don't have the tree yet, but I've got like, the Jack and the Beanstalk.
Even better,
But
mate.
the
So
leaves
you're
the leaves coming off it are really big though, so I've got my protection.
brilliant, right? So now you can climb that stalk up to heaven and get the golden goose.
I've
And
definitely got a beanstalk, dude.
but it's not a horror story. The giants are part of our ancestors, so you can meet the giant of who you are, become the giant.
Yeah, beautiful.
So that's a journey you can take, through imagination. You're shining, on screen. You're shining. That's the power of imagination.
I mean, I've done a lot of Akomi and body-centered work and EMDR and all that stuff. So yeah, it's for a lot of people, they probably thinking that guy's not a tree or a beanstalk. I am. I can tell you now. And
But
I was like, I was some type of cowboy or Indian, I don't know what, but I've been buried. I was like, she was like, trying to tell me what that feels like. And I'm like, okay, well, it feels like there's no one to talk to, which then led on to there's no one to talk. Oh, fuck, I'm fucking hell, I'm in a box. Oh, I'm underground. Oh,
buried alive.
fucking, oh, shit. And you're like, break through that. So I'm just like, yeah, fucking right. Like, they like those kung fu masters. Just penetrate.
Yeah,
But then I had a little layer of grass. It's like a Mr. Man, the Mr. Men things. I could just saw these silly little blades of grass,
yeah.
little soil. But yeah, little like the Mr. Men worm. But then the beanstalk was just like, whoa! But you'd gone now tree, oak. But it was like beanstalk straight away.
Excellent. Yeah. But you
That's
see,
it.
it's difficult to do that level of work on your own. You need someone to guide you,
Yeah.
right? But that's the power of imagination. Look at your vibration. It's completely transformed, right? Through the power of imagination. And you mentioned methods, right? Imagination doesn't have methods. Imagination is limitless,
Good. Like it.
right? Methods are great because someone imagined those up, but you don't stick to those methods that are given through books, and we're rewriting the books.
I love it. That's such a gift. You're right. I needed that. Thank you, Alistair. That's beautiful because you're right. That's what's happening in that room. It's imagination. I'm being in my own imagination. You're right. The invitation that's coming from me is imagination. Let's be imaginative. Let's
Yeah.
be playful.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Yeah, turn it into a fun game. Turn it into a story.
Yeah.
Like, choose your favorite story. Is it the three little pigs? Is it the three goats, the three bears? You know, there's lots of threes coming up, but you know, you can choose any story and act it out however you want. Whatever is like, I tell you how I do it. I do it through the attraction of joy. So, what's my favorite movie? What's your favorite movie? Like, I'm laughing because what came up was Pacific Rim, right, which is about robots and monsters. But I have this thing about Godzilla. I used to watch Godzilla when I was a kid, and it's like I started tapping into this power, and it's about storytelling, dreams, right? The gift of that spirit. And there's also an Akashic link there to draconians. I don't know if you heard of them. They're a race of beings, and you know, if I'm sure you've heard the term draconian methods, right? Yeah, very, very militant. And so I started unlocking past lives, and I tried to draw Godzilla in my book, and it looked like a draconian. I was like, whoa, I was reclaiming past lives. So imagination and art, when you put them together, it can completely manifest new parts of yourself. That
100%.
yeah, it's magnificent. Like the other night, I unzipped myself and I stepped out of my dark body and into my light body. Talk about imagination, you know. Because when I was a little kid, I saw this horror movie. I was up late. It's always up late, and I saw this horror movie called The Zip, and this guy unzipped himself, and it terrified me because he walked out a completely different man. But you don't walk out a different man. You walk out who you truly are, because who you are right now, who you think you are, isn't who you truly are.
Yeah, totally.
But we're terrified of that because we're like, I don't want to be someone else. I want to be me. But that's exactly what happens. You will become you, and you leave behind who you're not.
Yeah, beautiful.
Namaste.
Namaste. Om Shanti. Yeah, it's profound. Again, beautiful. Your beautiful self here, speaking lots of truth. It's gorgeous. Yeah, that's massive for me. I'm definitely taking that. That's definitely something I'm gonna sit with. Working with imagination is definitely what's happening with me. I mean, Carl Jung, I've read a lot of it on his stuff, how he would work. So, but you know, I work the way I work, you work the way you work, but it's lovely to for you to recognize that and then draw that out a little bit and be like, okay, I get a little bit more about, because you seem to articulate yourself very, very well, where I just don't know if that's because you're used to being on screen, but I'm not used to being on these platforms at all. But if I'm in a space that I've prepared, got it cleansed, got it clean, got it ready, you know, that's when I shine. That's when, and I don't want to come out of that and go, do you know what I did in there? I did this and I did that. I'm not that guy, and I wouldn't be able to explain it because it's in that moment. That's what it was, and it can never be explained. No word will ever explain it. It's it's so precious. It's been like, and it's out there. Then it's living its life. It's breathing itself into being, and it's like, yeah, I'm on a really good journey, and I'm just so glad you're here to be my witness, and I'm so glad that you're here to support me. I think I've got to start to think about closing because I've got obviously young children.
Yeah, I feel like it's the right time.
Days.
Yeah.
I've got to start thinking about how to leave this beautiful space, which I
Yeah.
find really hard because I could talk to you all day. I feel so that comfortable with you. I think that um, wanting to work with you one day would be amazing. I'd like to see that. I'd like to see that as I mature as a man. I know you're a lot younger than me, but where we're holding space and working together would be a dream. Especially in your part of the world. I love there. So you know, I've got thoughts around that would happen quicker than I probably could imagine. Where we get a group together and we help facilitate something that's very, very powerful. But with these calls, they mean so much to me. Like, I really look forward to them. And I know you talked about commitment. I hope I've showed that again today. Like it meant a lot, you calling that out and putting that in the room. I think it's really important that we have responsibility at our door, that it's a time for men to step up that have got similar experience, have done a lot of work, are doing the work, that feel into us and would join us. And I'll send that out there again. Please join us. You're welcome. Everyone's welcome. However you show up, like Alistair said, we're here. And if that means a separate group that we do, then bring it on. With regards to money, obviously there's definitely something happening around the vibration of the washing of money coming from all angles. Obviously the money that's coming in is usually coming in from massage, Reiki, reflexology, counseling, or this mental health support work that I'm doing. So it's all coming in from that, people wanting help and to feel better. So it's coming from a good source. But what I've provided for you, Alistair, is thanks to you that's happening. So you deserve that, and I wish I could send more. I just want to keep. I'm really curious about that. That's an interesting thing that's happening, and long may it continue. So I'll keep sending what I can. It's so much to me that we've got this space to be able to share our stories and hear from each other. But yeah, I think what my takeaway really is that working with the imagination rather than the method. And we've spoke about empty chair or constellation therapy. We've touched on that embodied sense of stay with that. What's the image? Where you're feeling that? And then, the metaphor or the story that comes from that is so beautiful and it's so playful and fun. Therapy doesn't have to be all doom and gloom. It can be really playful. You don't have to
Yeah.
sit in it. You can get out of your chair. You can do movement. We can do voice, we can do silence, it's like you say, it's an art form. That's the healing, that's the story. So I've got a lot from this session, which is really beautiful, and it doesn't shock me that happens. I think there's definitely the real Michaels with you always as well. I don't ever feel that I'm something different. I don't even see the screen really,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I know that you're a beautiful mirror for me. And I know you challenge me, which is what we all need. I think we need challenge. I think we've touched on responsibility, which I've really, really loved. I loved how we can get past that. And also with grief, just when do we find that acceptance? When do we find that we can then really love them? And I found that really, really beautiful. But I'm at different stages within my cycles of grief. And touching on that, Michael, we can get past that cycle and move more into. But then I said, but people are at different stages of grief and why they're in that grief, what's happened to them. And then you explained that away, which was really, really cool, because to constantly enable the grief, yes, some people want to stay in that because they feel that keeps the memory alive. That's the way they see themselves, because outside of that is uncomfortable. Because what am I outside of that grief? Am I different? Are people going to like me? Will I be accepted? And you're like, oh my God, like when you're ready to see that, we're here and we can take you through that journey, which I think that is such a great gift to have. And I know that you can. I can feel that, because I said to Lex when she came to see you in Hazel to do your retreat, I said to her when she come back, they're the real deal. What's your version? She went, oh my God, they are amazing people. And I knew that, and I haven't been in your retreat places. We've been together physically, but not doing work like that. And for my wife, who's done huge amounts of work and constantly does huge amounts of work, has met, thank God, Hazel and you, and she is so much happier, and so much more. She's growing exponentially. She's growing, but she's changing, which would scare a lot of people that if they're not doing the work, i.e., if I wasn't doing the work, right? Oh my God, the relationship would be gone, guys.
Precisely.
It'd be gone.
Precisely.
She is just going, woo.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. You're right on. Yeah.
And that's where I'm sort of wanting to put my clothes in, but I'm so grateful for you. I love you so much, mate. I think you're a real special person, and love that you share the way you share. And yeah, just keep doing what you're doing. And yeah, that's me.
Thank you. Thank you. We'll do a closing ceremony with the seven
Yeah.
directions, just one of them. But I just wanted to say, just to clarify,
Yeah.
I want people to be in grief. It's the avoidance of grief that I'm not
Okay.
promoting. You know,
Great.
but grief is the portal to transformation, and art is transmutation. It helps us transmute what is going on in the inside into the outside. So how do you get that pain to come out? You know, you have to do it through integration. That's why I'm doing this book about integration, because we are pieces of art. We need to create art. It's so profound. Anyway, next week I would love to talk about how men can choose for love, because men aren't choosing for love at the moment, and we should do that. So yeah, I give thanks to the seven directions. Thank you to the direction of in. Thank you to the direction of down. Thank you to the direction of up. Thank you to the direction of north. Thank you to the direction of west. Thank you to the direction of south. And thank you to the direction of east. So we end on new beginnings. Thank you. And thank you to everyone who's listening, and thank you for any donations. Very much welcome. And thank you for your time, Michael. Are you available next week?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We are away from, so it's going to impact sessions. So yeah, I'm available 5th, but I'm then not going to be here for 12th and 19th, I'm afraid.
Okay. Big portal coming up on the 8th of August.
Okay.
The Lionsgate portal, the 8/8, and the huge one in September. So there's a massive build-up. The one in September is probably the biggest portal in past several hundred years, probably.
Wow.
Yeah, not many people are aware of it, but it's coming.
Which date's that, did you say? I put it in now.
The 8th of August. It's the 8/8. It's the famous Lionsgate. It's already open because we just had a Leo's moon, but it's a really big one this year.
Okay, and then what was the one in September?
The 9th.
And do you know the name of that?
999.
Okay, thank you for that. Yeah, good to see you. All right.
Yeah.
Have a really blessed day, my friend, and see you. I mean, obviously, if I need you, I could just reach out. You know that I do that if I do, but it's going to be busy. I'm quite busy right up until leaving next week for our holiday. But yeah, I'll reach out if I need you, and if you need me, reach out.
Yeah, and one last thing I'll say is that when we move into August, it's essentially the beginning of autumn, which means the beginning of releasing. And remember, I tell you this every year. It's very hard on relationships because the leaves start falling off the trees, and when women start to go through their autumn in their menstrual cycle, it can really trigger abandonment in children and men and each other. But
Wow.
it's really difficult time of year for people who haven't healed the abandonment or rejection wound.
Okay.
From August to September, when the leaves are still falling, and it can go on until the last leaf has fallen, you know.
How
So,
interesting.
yeah.
Yeah, I think that's something to look out for. You're absolutely right. Be mindful of. Thank you for that.
Yeah,
That's
you're
really
welcome.
all right, buddy. Love you
Have
much.
a good one.
Too.